Hello and welcome to Weird Canadian Kid Shows. Today we're talking about the Canadian house hippos.
It's nighttime in a kitchen just like yours. All is quiet. Or is it?
Canadian house hippos was a commercial that would run on, children's television networks. And the whole point of it was actually a pretty good one. And it was that you shouldn't trust everything that you see on TV. A very useful tool that I think a lot of people could use today, applied to the internet and TV. You just can't trust what you're seeing all the time, and you gotta use your critical thinking skills to figure it out. One problem with the house hippos, though, is that the ad was too fucking good. You would be shocked. And maybe even some of you watching this now don't realize that that's what that commercial was for. I've talked to many people who are like, remember that weird house hippo commercial? What was that? And it's like, it fucking tells you at the end of the ad, but kids weren't paying attention to that because the ad itself was just way too good. The special effects, and I know that, maybe the special effects don't actually hold up that well, but because we were watching it on old shitty TVs, old CRT TVs, not necessarily shitty, but you know how like some 8-bit video games and 16-bit video games look better on older CRT TVs than they do on flat screens? Maybe if you watch the House Hippo ad today on a fucking massive 4K, 8K TV, it will look like ass. But back in the day, that looked like a real miniature hippo walking through a house. It looked really impressive. And the narration was really on point, and everything about it just worked really well. But somehow, and I think that that's the reason that so many people miss the second half of that ad, where it goes, that looked really real, didn't it?
That looked really real, but you knew it couldn't be true, didn't you?
Yeah, like I'm not gonna say that I'm some genius kid who figured that shit out, because no, it's spelled out for you. I was just paying attention, and I think for a lot of you, realistically, you also knew this, and this isn't new information for you, but I'm not exaggerating when I say that I have been stunned that throughout my adult life I have met more than a dozen people who have no idea what that ad's real meaning was, even though it explicitly says it. And I genuinely believe it's because of how well it was executed. But then that makes me want to get into the headspace of somebody who doesn't know that that ad is about using critical thinking skills to determine whether or not something you're seeing on television or the internet is fake. Like, so what did they think it was then? Did they just kind of stop at, well, that's confusing? Or maybe they were just like, they knew it was fake, but they just didn't think much about the ad itself. That's probably what it is, but I like to live in fantasy worlds. And I like to imagine that there's some kids out there who actually hunted for the house hippos in their home. And if you were one of those kids, if you went into your closet, if you left peanut butter out, if you did anything to try and catch or find house hippos, I want to know what your process was and what you did to find them. Yeah, so just a really quick one today. There's not a whole lot to say about the ad other than it was an effective ad that was really well done. And then my little tidbit about how I know people in real life who thought that the house hippo shit was not informative ad about using your brain. But this one I'm really nostalgic for, and I think a lot of other people are too. So if you haven't watched the House Hippo ad in some time, you can find it on YouTube. Maybe give it a watch and, stoke those nostalgic fires in your soul and feel good for a minute. Because we all need to feel good right now. Because the rest of the world fucking sucks.